walls of Jericho stood tall, higher than any man could climb, thick, heavy, unbreakable. For generations, no army had ever broken through them. Kings had tried, warriors had tried, entire armies had tried, and every one of them had failed. Jericho was the fortress no one could conquer. But on one strange morning, something unusual was happening outside those walls. There were no catapults, no battering rams, no ladders, no soldiers charging the gates. Instead, a group of people were walking, slowly, quietly, in a circle around the city, once, twice, 3 times, 7 times. The people inside Jericho watched from the walls, confused. Some laughed, some mocked. Some wondered if the army outside had lost its mind. But then something happened. A trumpet sounded, then another, and another. The sound echoed across the valley. Then suddenly, thousands of voices shouted at once, and in that moment, the impossible happened. The ground trembled, the air shook, and the massive walls of Jericho collapsed. Not from swords, not from fire, but from something far more powerful: faith. But this story did not begin at Jericho. It began many years earlier, in a place of suffering, in a land of slavery. Before Joshua ever brought down those walls, his life began under chains. The land of Egypt was powerful, rich, advanced. It was the greatest empire in the world. But behind its shining temples and magnificent palaces, there was a dark secret. Slaves built the empire. Thousands of them, men, women, children. They were the people of Israel. Generations earlier, their ancestors had come to Egypt during a time of famine. But the years passed. Kings changed, and a new pharaoh rose to power. A pharaoh who did not remember the kindness once shown to Israel. Instead, he feared them. The Israelites were multiplying, growing stronger, more numerous, and Pharaoh believed that one day they might rise against him. So he made a brutal decision. He enslaved them. They were forced to work in the hot Egyptian sun, making bricks, building cities, carrying stones, day after day, year after year. Their cries filled the air. Their prayers rose toward heaven, and somewhere among those suffering people, a child was born. His name was Joshua. Joshua grew up hearing the sound of whips, the cries of tired workers, the endless commands of Egyptian guards. But even as a boy, there was something different about him. Joshua watched everything. He listened carefully. He learned quickly. And deep inside, a quiet strength was growing. But no one knew yet that this boy would one day lead an entire nation. Years passed. Joshua became a young man, strong, disciplined, focused. Yet his people were still slaves, still suffering, still waiting. But one day everything changed, because in the wilderness of Sinai, a man encountered a burning bush, and that man would soon change the destiny of Israel forever. His name was Moses. When Moses returned to Egypt, people whispered. Some believed him, some doubted him. But Moses had a message from God. Let my people go. Pharaoh refused, and that refusal unleashed one of the most terrifying series of events in history. The plagues of Egypt. Water turned to blood, frogs covering the land, darkness swallowing the sky, one plague after another. Egypt trembled, and the Israelites watched in awe. Joshua was among them. For the first time in his life, he began to realize something. Their God was powerful, far more powerful than Pharaoh. But Pharaoh still refused to release them, until the night everything changed. That night, a silence fell over the land, a deep, unsettling silence. Families stayed inside their homes, doors closed, lamps burning quietly. But in the homes of the Israelites, something unusual marked the doorways. Blood, the blood of a lamb. It was a sign that would protect them. Because that night, judgment passed through Egypt, and when morning came, the entire nation was mourning. Pharaoh finally broke. Leave, go, take your people and go. After centuries of slavery, the Israelites were finally free. Joshua stepped out of Egypt with thousands of others, men, women, children, all walking toward an uncertain future. But freedom came with a problem. Behind them, Pharaoh changed his mind. Soon the sound of chariots thundered across the desert. The Egyptian army was coming, and ahead of Israel, there was nowhere to run. Only water, the Red Sea. The people panicked. Fear spread quickly. Some began shouting, some began crying, some even blamed Moses. But Joshua stood silently among them, watching, waiting, because what happened next would become one of the greatest miracles in history, and it would shape the faith of Joshua forever. But no one there could imagine that this young man, who witnessed the sea split open, would one day lead Israel into another impossible victory, a victory that would bring down the mighty walls of Jericho. And that was only the beginning. And that was only the beginning of Joshua's journey. The Red Sea is behind them, but the greatest battles are still ahead. If you want to see how Joshua brings down the walls of Jericho, subscribe now, smash that like button, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss part 2. Share this story with someone who needs to witness these incredible miracles. Drop a comment below. What moment amazed you the most? Or, what would you do if you were Joshua? Trust me, part 2 will shock you in ways you won't believe until you see it. Don't miss it.